Kate has cheated for 14 years, but
Stop it! You can't.
yes, I can do that.
Legit
I have
ban.
proof.
Stop!
With
I
which
can
singer?
do whatever I want.
Why are you bringing it up?
No, because they
They
said.
had two different singers.
AC/DC is
They had
definitely.
two different singers.
Why are you yelling?
Because you need to make money.
Definitely.
I'm making money
100%
anyway. Who
has
cares?
to be in my top
Which
five.
singer did you like
Why'd you
better?
say that
The
too?
first one or the
Second.
It's all right.
Yep.
They were
100%.
like,
Why are you yelling?
Okay, so get this. John and Kate Gosselin have somehow found their way back into our feeds. I'd honestly forgotten about them for years, but here they are, and one of them still seems to be bringing up the other pretty regularly, especially on TikTok Live. And recently, Kate's estranged son Colin shared a very heartfelt TikTok about his childhood, and Kate has lightly addressed him in a few recent comments. Meanwhile, John's fiance isn't exactly thrilled about being compared to Kate, or being dubbed Kate 2.0 during a very recent messy live stream. For a show that's been off the air for years and a divorce long in the past, there's surprisingly a lot to catch up on. So let's take a little trip back into the John and Kate +8 era. We're going to dive into some of that history and see where they are at today. So like I said, we are first going to take a little stroll down memory lane. I posted a poll. Some of you guys weren't even familiar with John and Kate +8, so this is a bit of history in case if you are not familiar, or in case if your memory is foggy because it's been a while. Going to put a timestamp right here in case if you want to fast forward and just get to the updates. I totally get it. So John and Kate +8 was a TLC reality show that aired from 2007 to 2009, documenting the chaos of the Gosselin household. It was John and Kate and their two twin daughters and a set of sextuplets. From the very first episode, which I actually rewatched, it had been I probably was in middle school when I watched it, so it's been a while, but I watched it for this video, and it was interesting, to say the least. But it definitely, from the very first episode, established a very clear dynamic. Kate as the strict type A mom, and John as, well, her 9th child, which is what she herself referred to him at one point, maybe more than once throughout the course of the show, let's be real. But John was basically framed as the bumbling, slightly clueless husband who mostly shuffled around, absorbing Kate's constant demands and sharp remarks. I think we all remember the, "Can you stop breathing like that?"
She was probably, "I'm sorry, can you stop breathing so loud, honey?" He's like, "Breathe quietly."
I think we all felt bad for him in that moment. But even though John and Kate +8 only aired from 2007 to 2009, the show had 122 episodes. Can you even begin to imagine how much filming that meant? And with cameras practically living in their house, the constant attention eventually wore John down. He was never comfortable in the spotlight. Back then, at least. Now I think it's a different story, but we're going to get to that. But the series did eventually come to an end after 2 years on air, and it wasn't actually because of ratings. It was actually one of TLC's hit shows. It was doing so well with the ratings, but it came to an end because John and Kate separated. Shocking, right? Not exactly. Obviously, another family fractured under the weight of reality TV. It's not anything new, as we know.
And I will love you.
And the reason for their separation, even all these years later, it's not exactly crystal clear. Around this time in 2009, the rumor was that John had cheated. He had since denied this, but around this time, Kate shared that he had changed a lot towards the end of their marriage. And in 2016, Kate spoke about John changing overnight, saying, quote, "John had begun buying motorcycles and cars and staying out late instead of taking care of the kids. People closest to me thought I was crazy and making it up. When they saw it for themselves, they were like, whoa." They saw the proof. But John has always, even years later, he has always insisted that he was faithful during their marriage. And he has even alluded and basically outright come out with allegations that Kate was the one that cheated on him with her bodyguard, Steve, who John, even as of recently, said that they are still together, but who knows? Kate has completely denied that rumor, so who knows? But John also admitted he came to see their relationship back then less as a marriage and more as a business arrangement. And honestly, cranking out 122 episodes over the course of 2 years, it's not hard to see why he might have felt that way. He has even gone on to say that when the divorce was brought up, it was brought up by Kate, and it was very out of the blue.
Until you got divorced, did you have an affair with anyone?
No. Nope.
She approaches you. She wants a separation. What did you say?
I was like, it was out of the blue too, because I was sitting at the dining room table, and I was just like, what are you talking about? She's like, I'm done. I don't want this anymore. You know, you don't want to film. You don't want to go along with my plan and filming and the kids and this and the house. And I'm like, nope, I don't.
Why did they think you were nuts?
Because I would give up millions of dollars not to film and just go live a normal life.
And to be fair, we definitely, over the course of the show, saw Kate treating John pretty poorly. And if you remember, around this time, John was getting labeled as a bit of a party guy, always photographed in full Ed Hardy gear from head to toe, out with different women, out late, out at nightclubs. And that image ended up casting Kate in a somewhat better light. Sure, she was still portrayed as tightly wound as ever, but she was also the parent at home with the kids, working hard to keep things together, according to the tabloids.
A lot of folks who have watched your story carefully, and that's a good part of the U.S. population, see you as the villain. That's how it's come across.
I was portrayed as the villain because Kate asked for the divorce, and they needed a reason, or the network needed a reason to explain to the public what was going on. So she asked for the divorce in 2009. I left the show. There was 9 months hiatus, and then we were already divorced, and then the paparazzi started taking pictures of me dating other women and all this stuff. But on TV, it was shown as me being married. So the public was being fooled because on television, I'm married, but in reality, I'm already divorced.
And John has spoke about that time, saying he lost everything during the divorce, including his own children, because Kate alienated them from him. But according to Kate's brother and sister-in-law, Kate had offered John an out, so to speak, something that I think goes on a lot with family channels and just people trying to maintain a very certain image in the public.
All we know is what John has told us, that Kate came to him a while ago with a contract stating that he can have girlfriends and that he can do his own thing, that they will live separate lives, and
they just need to
continue the show.
Right. In exchange, John needs to show up for filming.
But suffice to say, John turned that offer down. He wanted no part of Kate, and he didn't want to pretend any longer. I mean, for years, apparently he was never interested in filming or fame or anything that came along with it. He didn't like being so publicly known or talked about. And all of these things that I'm saying now, we didn't know as an audience or as part of the public back then. All we knew as outsiders was that this was what the media was portraying, is that John was out partying and Kate was back at home taking care of the kids. And things were actually going kind of well for Kate at this time. She rebranded herself with a makeover and she ditched the infamous Karen cut. The show also shifted to Kate plus 8, notably without John. It never reached the same level of popularity though. By the later seasons of the original series, much of the audience was tuning in to watch the unraveling of John and Kate's marriage. And once John was out of the picture, interest faded quickly. And so Kate plus 8 was canceled pretty quickly because people just didn't really care about her taking care of the kids. They were tuning in for the drama, and there just wasn't any drama with John out of the picture. And so since it canceled rather abruptly, Kate basically carved out a path on the wider reality TV circuit.
It's TLC star Kate Gosselin and her partner, Tony Dovolani.
I mean, that's a way to make a quick buck, I guess, if you need it. But that more, however you want to word it, just the positive public perception of Kate started to fade. And it seemed like she just couldn't let go of the fame at this point. In 2014, she tried a little PR move, if you will, by bringing her twin daughters onto the Today Show to just basically reassure everyone that the family was doing just fine. The big issue or, a problem with that was that the twins didn't exactly reassure anybody. And the whole interview was incredibly painful and just uncomfortable to watch.
Are with us now. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
Well, we have not seen you or gotten to talk to you two in a long, long time, and you're out because you want to let the world know that you're doing okay. Maddie, what would you want to say about how you and your sister and your family are doing?
Maddie, your words.
No,
It's
it's
your
hard.
chance.
It's a
Spit
hard
it out.
question.
Oh,
What about you, Kara?
so this is their chance to talk. This is the most wordless I've heard them all morning.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for them, but Maddie, go ahead. Sort of the things that you said in the magazine, that years later, they're good, they're fine. Go for it, Matt. It's your chance.
No, you just said it.
Oh, I said it.
And things drastically changed when it came out that one of her kids, Colin, came forward saying that he had been severely mistreated by Kate. He said that when he was around 8 or 9 years old, that he was isolated in a small room in their basement for long stretches of time, and that he was treated as a scapegoat for all of Kate's problems. He said that, quote, when my mother would put me in that room multiple times, she had zip tied my hands and feet together and bolt locked the door, turned the lights off, and had cameras there just watching me. Absolutely heartbreaking stuff. I am only going to touch on that stuff so much just because it really is heartbreaking. But in 2016, she sent him to the Fairmount Behavioral Health System institution in Philadelphia. The reason Kate claimed was for violent and unpredictable behavior. So he stayed at that facility for 22 months, and apparently John had no idea he was there. John didn't know where Colin was, period, because he hadn't seen his kids in a really long time. But somehow Colin was able to secretly get a letter to John from the facility. And in that letter, it's in crayon. He's begging his dad to come rescue him, saying he wants to live with him. Can you please be my savior? Truly just gut-wrenching to read and to see. It's obviously going to be on the screen. If you have not seen it, it's just, again, horrible, heartbreaking. He was so young, there's just no excuse for this. But once John did eventually get that letter, he did get Colin out to live with him. And from what I was reading, it was a custody thing, but Kate didn't even show up to the custody hearing, so John got custody of Colin. In present day, we know that both Colin and Hannah, one of John and Kate's other kids, chose to live with him. The rest of the kids were living with Kate during this time and had no relationship with John or Colin, and that's still the same present day, but Hannah still is in communication with Kate, and that has never changed according to Kate herself. Okay, so now that we are kind of caught up to speed, and I know I missed a lot, I could have made this video much longer, but that's kind of the condensed version of John and Kate +8 history for you. But now for the updates. So first and foremost, let's talk about John and Kate's TikToks. John has had TikTok for a while, but he was inactive on there for years. That was until Kate joined TikTok in the last few weeks, and since then he has been very active, posting daily and doing lives every day. And like I said, those lives get very messy. But before I show you those messy live clips, let's take a look at Kate's TikTok, which her TikTok is about as low drama as it gets. She shares cleaning tips, posts about her dogs, and talks about her work as a pediatric home health nurse. It's definitely a far cry from her reality TV days, and honestly, she comes across as way more mellow. Maybe that's because she is no longer, chasing 8 little kids or having to deal with John. I don't know. It also could just be that she has really perfected the art of curating her own personal image. Who knows? What I do know is that she never brings up John, unlike John, who seems to bring up Kate like it's his full-time job. Like I mentioned, John is on TikTok posting every single day, and oftentimes he is going live on TikTok. And whenever I catch one of his lives, I'll click into it, usually for no more than 2 minutes because I don't necessarily care to sit and watch him for an hour. But I'll just click to see if anything's going on, especially in preparation for this video. And without fail, every single time I click onto his live, he brings up Kate.
I'm the guy that left my wife because she was being a jerk.
Why'd you leave your wife?
Yeah, because she cheated on me.
Because she was someone.
Yeah. Still with her bodyguard. You should put Steve on camera over there.
A couple weeks ago, John had a particularly messy TikTok live while having some people over. His fiancée Stephanie was there and clearly frustrated as viewers kept comparing her to Kate. At one point, you can even hear Hannah in the background trying to calm things down, saying, "Stephanie, just don't stop, don't let them get to you."
You're up there for me.
Good smile.
Three-piecer. Banging it out. Incredible.
John
Can I have my phone back?
are you happy?
Incredible.
Of course I'm happy. I'll be happy
Black
when I have my phone
Sabbath,
back.
Kiss is up there for me. AC/DC.
Thank you.
You,
She's worried about a bird.
Michaels, did you see the interview with Brett Michaels?
Are you
They asked
serious
him,
right
they go,
now?
Who do you think's the best rock band of all
Yes.
time? He goes, if you go just pure rock, and I do agree with him to an extent. Pure rock. He goes,
I don't like you right now.
AC/DC.
Kate has cheated for 14 years, but
Stop it! You
I
can't.
can.
Legit
Yes,
band.
I can do that.
Legit
I have
band.
proof.
Stop.
With which
I can
singer?
do whatever I want.
Why are you bringing it up?
No, because they
They
said.
had two different singers.
Is
They had
definitely,
two different singers.
Why are you yelling?
Because you can make money.
definitely.
I'm making money
100%
anyway. Who
has
cares?
to be in my top
Which
five.
singer did you like
Why'd you
better?
say that
The
too?
first one or the
Second.
It's all right.
Yep.
They were
100%.
Why are you yelling?
legit rock band.
Who's a
The
bully?
lead singer died.
Because you're like yelling.
Name of the band, dude. Like,
Well, first of all,
She's
we
not
know.
25. She can tell her age.
Okay, everybody, I'm kidding around. I would never hurt John. We're playing around.
Not Stone Temple.
No.
Charles.
Other one.
I'm aggressive.
Which one? The 90s.
You want to come with me?
Not the original 6.
Why don't they have that?
crushed.
You
it.
okay?
Did you see that
Dude, the
documentary?
liability would be astronomical.
Tell them that
you
you're
saw
gonna
the
come with
bathroom,
me
the
and pick up my
documentary, the
kid.
bathrooms.
Guys, I'll be back.
Tell them where you're going.
Great song.
But that was their
They
fault.
can hear you.
Yes, they didn't manage.
Well, they're
the
being
problem.
mean.
That was
They're
their
not
fault.
Money
mean.
maker.
Just ignore them.
Yeah, that was their
Patience is a virtue, everybody.
Corn.
Remember the band?
I never heard of that.
Get over it, Steph. Leave me alone.
Placements?
Yeah.
No.
You people are
He's not in
mean.
that
We stand Hannah.
ultra.
Exactly.
Yeah, the replacements.
They keep saying I'm so
Were they metal?
annoying.
Steph,
Techno?
just ignore the comments.
That's why I never heard of
Do you think people aren't mean to me when I go live on my page? Just ignore it.
At that point, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's time to turn off the live, sober up before getting back on. Again, I don't know. I don't do TikTok lives, so I just can't relate, I guess. But apparently Kate must have been seeing clips from John's account on her homepage or something, because she ended up blocking him. And how do we know this? Well, John told us, of course.
Just found out. Someone actually did block me. It was my ex. I can't see anything. Not like I was looking or anything. But I find it very interesting.
John, seriously, why are you obsessively looking up your ex, who you obviously hate, on TikTok? And why start posting daily now after being inactive for years? But like I said, he is constantly talking about her, and she never mentions him. Honestly, I can't blame her for blocking him. She probably was just protecting her peace. She clearly lost interest a long time ago, and his relentless name dropping makes me wonder if he ever really got over her. I can totally see if he was doing an interview and he was asked about her, of course he's going to talk about her in a professional interview setting. But remember, this is his own TikTok account, and he's choosing to talk about her all the time. I mean, at one point he said, "Oh, I'm definitely going to pass Kate up in followers next week." He was bragging about it.
I'm going to pass Kate's followers this week, by the way. I just saw your post. Easily.
It's like, dude, how old are you? Get a grip. But Kate, of course, is not innocent either. She's done plenty over the years to earn criticism, and we'll get into the Colin situation in a bit. I'm not defending her, but I do think she could have used TikTok to fully lean into her old persona. Gone full on Karen, worked that personality, stirred up the gossip. That would definitely get people talking. Instead, she's posting videos about homemade dog food while her ex is out there trashing her daily. I'm not excusing her past mistakes, but it's clear that one of them has grown a bit, at least a bit, and the other one is very stuck in the past. And honestly, John just rubs me the wrong way. He has such a grating attitude on his TikTok lives, acting like he's doing us the biggest service being on there when we all we know He's on there because he's making money doing it.
But I don't give a shit. I just said I was blocked. It worked though. You're following me. You're on my lives. But you're just gonna get the real me. You may not like me. You might not like the real me versus the TV me. So it doesn't matter to me. I don't really know you, but I'm trying to get to know you all.
And I do give John credit for getting Colin out of the facility, but I also think he was very late on that. Again, he claims he didn't know what was going on and hadn't seen his children, and that when he would ask Kate, she would ignore him. And I do believe him. I do believe that she was giving him the runaround and completely ignoring him.
John said that he has no idea where Colin is and that he has not seen him in a year and a half. He claims that you won't tell him where Colin is.
We are both court-ordered not to speak about the care and custody of our children in detail. I've known all along where he is, but the world doesn't know, and I'll leave it at that.
John's in that world.
But I also think he could have done more just to figure things out. They were his kids after all. Yes, Kate had TLC on her side and their wallet, but I just feel like for a while there, John really didn't care what was going on at home. He was enjoying his freedom. He even has since admitted that he went off the rails for a while after their split. I also think that based off of things that have come out from Kate and even Colin, that it wasn't all of a sudden he was acting difficult for Kate. There are journal entries from Kate's alleged diary from 2006 where she talks about something being different with Colin. She had a hard time relating to him and admits to being physically harmful with him. I'm going to read you a couple of these journal entries. This one from September 5th, 2006. She says, "Today I was officially a horrible mommy. I failed all the way. I was absolutely awful to Colin, who was awful to me. He just does things to irritate me," which he's 2 at this point. Keep that in mind. 1 or 2. A 1 or 2-year-old does not purposely do things to irritate their parents. They're not vindictive. But she says, "I can't explain it. I love him so much, but I don't understand him. His frustration is unexplained, and I don't know what he wants a lot of the times. He just starts shrieking, and I tend to ignore it a lot. He is such a sweet boy and so cute and smart, but I don't understand him." And then in this one, she said, "I let the kids play for the first time in the water table that had beans in it. Instead, Colin decided to pour the beans all over the floor while I was inside peeling potatoes." But she goes on to say, "So the girls told me, and I sent all the offenders inside. Well, Colin didn't like that, and I sent him in, and when I was out in the garage, I heard 3 large bangs. I went inside, and 3 high chairs were on the floor. Literally, I was instantly so angry that I grabbed him and spanked him as hard as I could and thought I may seriously injure him. So I sent him to his crib and whipped him into it very hard. I, for the first time, thought I may really lose it, and I'm glad that I just let him in his crib. I never felt that I may really seriously injure a child, but today was that day. I don't know what it is about Colin. He is usually kind and caring and nice and tender. But when his temper flares, watch out. I don't like that he doesn't know how to handle his frustration and anger." And if you are curious as to whether these journal entries are real, where they came from, well, the short version of the story is that some guy got a hold of a journal Kate had thrown away and published the entries in a book about her. Kate tried to sue him for publishing it without her consent and basically just the way he went about getting the diary. But eventually she dropped the case and never actually denied that the journal entries were legitimate. So take that however you want, I guess. So Kate, if that's all true, and I have to say alleged, obviously, but if it's all true, allegedly, if it's true, that means that Kate was sadly acting this way towards Colin since he was a toddler. And I have to think that at some point John was seeing some type of red flags with her and her relationship with Colin, and he didn't step in. And eventually he left altogether, leaving all of the kids in Kate's care. One of the other siblings, Hannah, has gone on to say he, meaning Colin, would be separated from us. He would not get to come outside and play with us. He would eat dinner at different times than us. I don't think effort was made in the home to help him learn what behavior is acceptable and what behavior is not acceptable. Now, I don't know if with that quote, Hannah was referring to pre or post John and Kate's divorce. But with Kate's alleged journal entries, it's clear that Colin was treated differently than his siblings for a very long time. And honestly, I'm just surprised that, with the information that we have now, that John hasn't been held more accountable for trying to figure out a way early on to help his son, if there was emotional or behavior issues going on, something, help step in. Maybe he had to step in with Kate. Either way, figure out something just to help manage the situation. Colin has spoken out since, saying that he didn't like filming for the show and that basically he thinks that he didn't fit his mom's mold for what she wanted. That basically he didn't cooperate for the camera, which, fair. Can't blame him there. He was a kid, but kind of interesting to me at least. He's also gone on to say that, Colin thinks that if it wasn't for the show, that his parents would still be together, which maybe. Obviously, John took Colin in whenever he was in middle school, and he has gone on to publicly say that he had a couple of struggles when it came to raising Colin.
I have to take like parenting therapy to understand where he's coming from. The hardest part is when there's an incident or something happens, and remember, it's not about you or something against you. It's the trauma and what happened.
So it's important to note that there hasn't been any formal diagnosis that has come out with Colin and that he's an adult now. And he seems to be doing pretty well for himself. But he does miss his brothers and sisters. He recently posted a TikTok that said, "Forced apart, pitted against each other. All the fame and money in the world, but what about kids being kids? I will always love them more than anything. The tears I shed behind closed doors, thinking about the memories we could have shared. I love you guys." Honestly, super sad to read that. If that isn't enough of a reason to put a stop to all family reality TV shows and family channels, I don't know what is. But John commented on the post saying, "Maybe someday we can all be together again. Love ya." People ask about Colin often on Kate's TikTok, and she sometimes will address the question, one time saying he knew what he did, which is insane to me, being that from what I'm reading, Kate hasn't even seen or spoken to Colin since he was 11 years old. And for reference, he's 21 years old today. And I'm jumping around at this point, I know, but I have to say this. No matter how involved Kate has become, all the homemade dog food TikToks in the world can't change the fact that she not only isolated Colin from his siblings, amongst other horrible things, but she alienated all the children from their father for years. There is no excuse for that. Even if he cheated, it's still no excuse to do that. And no matter how much of a tool I do think John is, which I do, I also do think that he does want to reconcile with his kids. But who knows what Kate has told all of the kids since such a young age, manipulating them and twisting things for her own financial gain. With all that being said, I do have to give Kate a little bit of credit for just moving on, I guess, from the drama. She had her first live while I was writing the script, actually, and it was so drama-free that there is nothing really worth showing you. Meanwhile, I could make a 1-hour video just of clips from the past 3 weeks of John trashing Kate on TikTok Live. And I do understand why John feels resentment towards Kate. There is a lot of history there. But going on TikTok Live to criticize her day after day, it doesn't seem to be helping him in any meaningful way. If reconciliation with his kids is truly what he wants, it might be more productive to focus on that directly, whether through private efforts or even writing everything out in a book and then moving forward. Because whether people agree with Kate or not, whether they like her or not, most of the siblings do choose to have a relationship with her, even as adults, and they're choosing not to with John. And again, I know that there likely has been a lot of alienation and manipulation on Kate's part that made it so even as adults they want nothing to do with John. There's clearly a lot of strain and fracture within this family, and I'm sure we only know the tip of the iceberg when it comes to all of it. But what seems certain to me, at least, is that repeatedly taking public digs at the mother of your children, it's probably just not the path to bring your kids back into your life. If only because it's probably embarrassing for them, if anything else. I mean, we have to remember that the sextuplets are now 21. Most of them are in college, and even if they're not in college, their friends are probably all on TikTok seeing their dad act this way. The best outcome would be for the kids to eventually reconnect with one another, and a good first step toward that might be leaving the public drama, especially on social media, behind. It's also very telling to me that most of the Gosselin kids have chosen to stay relatively private since the cameras stopped rolling. Who we continue to hear from the most, pretty much it's just John and Kate at this point. It's all really unfortunate and a textbook example of why family life and reality TV rarely mix. As Colin himself has said, the show tore the family apart and robbed him of a normal childhood. Could things have unraveled without the cameras? Absolutely. But I do feel like the show was a major catalyst. In my opinion, Kate always seemed to take charge of both John and the kids, sometimes in ways that came across as dismissive towards him. Once the show began, that dynamic was magnified for the cameras, and over time, it clearly took a toll on John. He said openly that he hated filming and the public perception that came with the paycheck. Kate, on the other hand, appeared to embrace the fame, continuing the reality TV circuit even after John and Kate Plus 8 ended. And she even just as of recently has hinted around to getting back into reality TV show, though she hasn't specifically told us what yet. But ultimately, whatever issues existed for John and Kate before the show aired only amplified once cameras moved into the house. Combine that with the pressures of raising 8 young kids under the constant scrutiny of the public, it was a recipe for disaster. I still see a lot of people who are either Team John or Team Kate, but as someone who watched the show back in middle school, long before the conversation about child exploitation was a thing, I'm team I'd love nothing more than just to see the siblings reconnect with each other. From what I understand, most of them haven't even seen or spoke with Colin since he was in 6th grade. And really, should anyone be permanently shunned from their family for things that did or didn't happen before they ever even hit puberty? I'm curious if we ever will see reconciliation someday. They're all still really young in their 20s, so they definitely have time to hopefully work through things and somehow find their way back to each other. Who knows what the future holds? Let's just hope it's not reality TV. But let me know what you guys think about this. What do you think about John and Kate being back in our lives? Sometimes I feel like it's 2007 again, just with some of the things going on in the media. Also, let me know what you guys think about this style of video. Sometimes there's not a lot of exciting things going on in the world of influencers and social media and all that. So it was kind of different and fun to do this style of video, re-examining an older TV show like this, washed up reality TV people, if you will, and just seeing where they are today. So let me know what you guys think about this one. Thank you guys so much, as always, for being here, and I will see you guys in my next video.